This is just going to be a quick little review of a tool I bought recently to solve a problem I had. I was struggling to tighten up some bolts on something because it was really hard to get at what I was trying to tighten, and I thought, oh, I wonder if there's a little ratchet or something you can buy. So I've got a fairly small ratchet, but once you put the adapters on it and you've got the thickness of the ratchet and then the extra bit of the hex bit sticking out, it can end up that even that's too big. So I had a quick look online and I came across this. It's the laser mini ratchet and bit set, and it's about £7 or £8. I think you can get these on eBay, probably get them elsewhere as well. And you get this little carry thing, this sort of carry, I don't know what you'd call it, it's like a belt clip thing. To be honest, it's not very good because the ratchet's not in there very firmly, but you know, I didn't buy it to carry around, so I don't really care. And you get the ratchet, you get the carrier, you get Phillips size 1 and 2, you get a flat head 4.57mm, and then you get a T. Sorry, a T. Well, it is a T. The number's T, but you get a star bit, T15 and T20. Wasn't really bothered about what bits came with it, but it's quite nice to have some. And then you get the little ratchet, which, as you can see, is extremely small and thin, and it's the thickness that was, or the lack of thickness, that what I was interested in. So you'll see one side of this it's rounded, which is this side, and the other side has got your standard hex fitting. So you can't put it in both ways, it only goes in one way, and the reason for that is it needs to push back on something so that it doesn't fall through. So if you put that in there, and you'll see it just sits up against the back there. So you can see, looking at that, this thing's only probably 1-2 millimeters at most thicker than the actual bit, which could be really handy if you're struggling to get in with something. And it is a proper little ratchet, you'll see. It clicks like a ratchet, works like a normal ratchet, and if you want to change the direction, there's a little bit at the side here that you can push to do that, and then it will ratchet the opposite way. The other thing I quite like about this, because you've got this bit on the end here, sometimes when you're trying to use a ratchet it won't click because there's not enough tension in the thing you're tightening to fight the force of the ratchet clicking. So you end up either having to sort of take the thing off and put it back on before you turn it and keep doing that, or with this, if you can get your finger in, if there's enough room, you can actually just press on that and that will then fight the force of the ratchet, and that makes it a bit easier to tighten the screw up. I wouldn't say you could tighten things up stupidly tight with this because it's fairly cheaply made by the look of things. I mean, I don't think this ratchet mechanism would take a huge amount of force, but I could be wrong, but I'm not going to be trying it for that anyway. It's not what I bought it for. But for small jobs, I think it could be ideal. So in this sort of situation, it's virtually impossible for me to get a screwdriver in here from any angle. Now with this, I have been able to get a flat blade in here and use a flat blade to tighten this with rounded off ends, but it's not very good, and it's just not ideal. Right, hopefully you can see here with this awkward setup, I can get the ratchet in nicely there. A bit of room there. There's unfortunately not quite enough room for me to touch the top to not have to mess about. As you see, when I go back it's not clicking, but I can get my finger on the side of the hex bit. With it being flat, that gives me something to press against, so I haven't got to mess about and keep taking the driver off. And now, as you can see, I can just gradually tighten that down. That doesn't need over tightening, but that's nice and easy. And then I've got another one over here. I actually shouldn't do that one first, so I'm going to do the one at the back on the opposite corner, because you're supposed to do these things in diagonals on these. So I've just done the one on the back, and again See, there's not much room here. I've got these memory chips in the way, but I can scoop that in here and tighten it, and a bit of support there helps. So really useful tool for something awkward like this that you otherwise simply just wouldn't be able to properly get at. So good little set for that.